Eagle Eye Reports, a closer look at life at Maple River. Ask any graduate about a favorite memory of high school, and it'll often involve memories of homecoming. Beginning in the fall of 1989, the communities of Mapleton, Amboy, Good Thunder, and Minnesota Lake came together to celebrate homecoming. While traditions come and go with each generation, homecoming is the defining event that fosters school spirit in and out of the school building. First, let's take a look at why school spirit still matters today.
I think school spirit matters because you're building a community. It's a chance for kids to connect outside of the classroom and to feel part of the Maple River community. And I also think that it's just super important to build life skills. And it's one of those great ways to learn how to have fun with each other and get along with people.
So I think with homecoming and school spirit, it's a great way. Obviously, we see a ton of alumni come back. A ton of our community gets behind it. It's just the long-standing tradition across America, really, of getting behind your school system and really encouraging them and providing that extra oomph, really, to start the school year. So there's probably a reason why homecoming was in the fall, and that is probably just to build a little more excitement around the start of the school year and getting this rolling, and again, our community getting behind us, our alumni getting behind us, as well as our student body.
And I think that's part of why homecoming means so much to students, is because ever since they were little, they've been seeing these things go on, and they've heard stories from their parents. And then when they get to experience the magic of homecoming week, their junior and senior year, where they're making the most memories and taking fun pictures, I think that to me shows like why the spirit of homecoming really matters.
I think school spirit is something that gives the students an identity, a thing that they can all kind of rally behind. You know, I've taught at schools that there is no school spirit, and you go to games and the kids are just sitting around and nobody cares about anything. It gives them something to have pride in, and something just for them to kind of rally support behind.
I think in a day and age when people are becoming more inverted with technology and everything else and distant from it, it's so important to have these shared experiences. And even though, you know, things started happening more and more in the 2010s, you know, early 2010s, I think we all saw it kind of coming this way with changes to technology and changes to, you know, how busy our lives are and stuff. And I think to be having those shared memories is something that we can't ever get back. And so I think it's very important now more than ever to have the parade, to have the meals at the football game, to have the, you know, the volleyball and all those activities during the week, and the coronation where the community comes in. I just think it's invaluable.
The sound of school spirit is often provided by the heartbeat of a school, the pep band.
I think band contributes to school spirit. Just like if you go to a pep fest, or if you go to a football game or a volleyball match, and you just hear the band kind of blasting away, you know, it's hard to not get pumped up. The kids, I told them today that I don't know if we're going to play at some of the postseason games, and they said, the players said, man, it's really nice when the band is there because it gets us fired up and we want to do good, and it's something that we look forward to hearing while we're out on the field warming up. And so I think in that way, I think band is really pushes kind of the envelope of hyping up the audience and getting them fired up and excited to be there and to watch the sports and the activities. Our school song is probably one of the more popular school songs, and I think, you know, it's got all the right elements of a good song. It's got a good melody, it's got a good counterpoint, it's got all of these really complicated flute and clarinet parts that are just insane, and the percussion just wails away on it, and it definitely is a great song, and it pumps you up and it gets you excited, and you can't help but when you hear it, as soon as we start that roll off and you see all of the audience, just everybody stands up, it gets you fired up, and it's a song that everybody knows and everybody loves.
Scheduling time for something like homecoming takes months, if not years, of planning.
People probably think it starts to plan in August or September, but really the impact comes from the scheduling side of things, probably a year to year and a half in advance. So trying to get a home event for every team sometimes can be challenging because most schools are trying to get homecoming in a 3-week window across the state or the country, really. And so it becomes trying to make friends with other activity directors and who's willing to move events and trade home games to get every team at least one home event during the week of homecoming. But there's always the ifs. If homecoming's late, the tennis team's already in the playoffs. Cross country only has one home meet, and that usually doesn't fall on homecoming week. So again, not every activity gets a home event, but we try our hardest to get everybody to participate in some facet during the week of homecoming.
Planning the weekly events is the responsibility of the student council.
One of the first years that I helped with student council, Stacy Langworthy at the time when she was in high school, was the student council president. And I remember trying to figure out what was cool to the students and stuff. And I remember having planned a big dance that was more costly than a typical dance, but we wanted to try to revive it. And it was the most awesome dance. People were talking about it afterwards in terms of it being what I imagine everyone being together at homecoming is all about.
My favorite memory is just working with the kids. They really step up to the plate. They do a lot of hard work, those kids that are on student council, and I would say that's the most rewarding part of it all is to work with the kids.
So Amy Anderson and I have worked together on homecoming the last 3 years, and the challenges have been trying to keep traditions of the past while also creating new ones for the future. The students have really loved some of the new things, and then we get, why haven't we done it this way? And so it's hard to balance those two things. Students would love to just not go to class all week, and teachers would obviously prefer the opposite. So our role as student council advisors is really trying to balance that with also allowing the kids to have a fun and memorable homecoming. We have to still go to school, we have to still do class, but there's lots of memories that we can make in the time that we are taking from school each day. So the last 2 years, we've done 2-hour late starts in the morning. So we've been able to do our fun activities before school really gets going, and then we just run a shorter schedule throughout the day. And that seems to work well because teachers get to see their students every day and keep working on their classroom stuff while not sacrificing the fun of homecoming.
So is it worth all the time, energy, and resources? Apparently, the answer is yes.
Well, you definitely want students to feel like they're part of the community and part of a team. And I think anytime you build that community in the classroom as well as outside of the classroom, it's very helpful. Not every day is great. Some days are really tough. So if you build great memories, sometimes those are the things that bring kids to school and help them be successful.
All right, so when it comes to playoff time, that's when we really need our school spirit to come out, our student body to get behind our classmates and our teams that are either at home, on the road, or a neutral site. We need as much support in the stands as we can get, just because it is do or die or it's win or go home kind of atmospheres. And so again, we really encourage that blue and green to come out on those nights and get behind your classmates and your schoolmates, just to give them that little extra oomph, that little extra energy to get over the hump, hopefully in a tight game that's going to be competed at a high level.
My favorite part of having, even preschool through 12th grade in one spot is when we do our Pep Fest on Friday in coordination. The gym was so packed and there was standing room only. We had community members there, and it was just so fun to see the little kids. Some of them are covering their ears because the drums are so loud, but they love it. And that is, to me, I get goosebumps thinking about it and seeing, just those little kindergarten eyes looking up at the king and queen on stage, or they're walking across and seeing the princess walk onto stage. Like, that to me is my favorite part. And I know talking with Mr. Anderson too, he's sat there and watched that and he's like, this is worth it. You know, all of the years of trying to get a new school. It's just so fun to see it all come together. So between that and, like I said earlier, the dress-up days for elementary, you know, elementary is chaotic enough as it is, but when they get to dress up for the week, it's just fun to see them go all out and have the school spirit. So it's very fun having the whole building together to celebrate our homecoming week.